Hey guys, welcome to Never Offside with Julie and Kat, and welcome to our season finale, is what we're calling it.
It's hilarious. We have a season finale, but episode 20, we are still counting. This is technically our season finale. We will not be done, but we're just going to go on a little summer schedule, if you will.
So we're going to pop in every so often with a fun summer episode.
An off-season, Never Offside off-season edition.
It's so crazy. Like we started this in January. We went through the whole. We're up to the Stanley Cup final, and who knew when we?
Who knew? And people are still listening. I was at a fair this weekend with my boys, and some person came up to me there, and she was so sweet and was like, I thought I knew her at first because she was like, Julie, and I was like, hi, and she was like, I just love your podcast. I noticed your husband, but I love your podcast. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it is so humbling. I am always caught off guard that people are actually listening and loving it. So appreciate it. Shout out.
Yeah, we're very, very, like you said, humbled. It's very, very cool whenever anyone says that. Anytime we get a DM. It's also really funny last week when we had Jeff and Ty on the show. If you haven't watch our husbands come on the show and
oh my gosh, yeah, Jeff
is
still recovering from the episode.
I know. I was going to ask how Jeff's doing.
He's a gamer. It was great.
Yeah, no, he was great. But when we were teasing the episode, I Googled Jeff Petrie, Tyler Toffoli to get some photos of them together, and their AI bio. We love an AI bio on the show. Was that they were connected through you and I in this podcast.
Hilarious.
Not that they went to the Stanley Cup finals together on the Montreal Canadiens, just that they
leave it to AI to tell them that we brought our husbands together, and you have 5 kids by the name of Aaliyah and Leo and whoever else.
Millions of kids. Ty and Jeff know each other through this podcast, and we learn a lot. We've learned a lot
it's been
season.
Fun. It's been a learning experience. And this episode is actually super special because we kept getting feedback that people wanted to hear from a coach's wife and a different perspective. And we thought no better time than heading into the Stanley Cup finals. We are going to speak with Emily Fee. She is the wife of the assistant coach for the Florida Panthers, Miles Fee, and just get her whole outlook on life. And she is the most fun-loving, energetic, adventurous woman that has gone. They started in Edmonton and have journeyed across countries. And she's just embraced kind of everything and talks about that and the whole vibe in Florida and how they have just leaned into that as a family and the organization, how special it is, and so much more. So that will be up next. Okay, welcome back to Never Offside. We have Emily Fee joining us today from Florida. She's a wife of the assistant coach, Miles Fee, and video coach of the Florida Panthers. Emily, welcome.
Thank you guys for having me.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I have a question that I feel like only I can ask in stalking you on Instagram. How tall are you?
Oh, I thought you were going to ask Miles because I know his height and I lie about my height all the time. So on my driver's license it says 5'4", but I'm technically 5'3".
Oh, so how tall is he?
He's 6'5". He's a big guy.
Oh my gosh, you look smaller than me in photos, and I'm 4'11".
So that was the funniest thing when you were sending us photos, and I sent them over to Kat. She's like, is she my size? And I'm like, it looks like it. And she is petite and little, teeny, but Miles is huge.
He's huge, but not fair because that photo, he had his skates on. So,
there you go.
It was a little, yeah.
Okay. Oh. Wow. I got excited that I had another 5
another miniature person.
Yeah.
I love that. So so you two know each other from Edmonton, you and Julie.
We go way back.
We go way back, 10 years ago.
Plus.
More than that. Um,
Wow.
yeah, we were with so many teams. Julie, maybe even less than you, but
Y-
yeah, we've been with a
So,
lot of teams.
yeah, take us back to kind of Miles's journey and your journey alongside him.
Sure.
And I know the Reader's Digest version, but just quickly give our listeners kind of your path, and then we'll dig into the little things that make you you and what have kept you going along this amazing journey y'all have had.
Yeah, it's been a crazy journey. So Miles and I met in college, and his Division three hockey team used to practice the same place as the New York Rangers. And I always tell kids like this is a good lesson. Sometimes if you want to work hard, play hard, you got to do the extra work, right? So he used to volunteer with them all the time, and they would ask him to come help out on the ice. So he was with the New York Rangers, and it was like dreamy because that was my hometown team. And I was like, oh, this is great. We'll be together. We'll be with the Rangers our entire life. I can live here. Great. No, he got the opportunity to go with the Edmonton Oilers to then be the head video coach. So we moved to Edmonton, and I tell you, there is nothing more humble from going from like delicious bagels, bodegas, to frostbite and oil country. Like it was a it was a full culture
We
shock.
get it. We get
Um,
it.
so
We
that
get it.
you get it. And that's nothing against them. It just personally, I was like, wait, this is what I signed up for. Okay, I need to like keep it focused. I'm doing this for my husband. But then yeah, we after that, we went to the minor league team, the Charlotte Checkers, which I mean included, I mean, it was from going from like Broadway to the community theater. And like Miles was on a lot more bus rides. It humbled us for sure. And then from there, we went to the Buffalo Sabres, which was awesome. We had a great time. And now we're with the Florida Panthers, which is like makes it all feel worth everything because it's like we've got sunshine, we've got lollipops every morning you wake up, but then you can go to the rink and the people that are here are amazing. And then of course, obviously the Stanley Cup, you can't beat that. So that's been our kind of like wonky journey, but it's been worth it at this point.
So when you got the call that you were going to Florida, what were you? Were you just like, yes, here we go?
So in my head, I was kind of like, wait a minute, we just bought a house. I found like a best friend, which is hard to do. You guys know, like when you're
Hmm.
constantly moving around, you're not a teenager anymore. Like you're set in your ways, you've got kids. It's almost like, I got to start over all over again. But then I'm
Hmm.
like, wait a minute, it's Florida. And I was kind of like, well, which one? Are we going to Tampa? Or are we going to go to the Panthers? And when he said the Panthers, I was like, okay. So we did our research. We thought about it for a long time. It wasn't the easiest decision, but now that we're here, it's just like we did the right thing.
Well, I remember just through social media, and that's how we've kept up over the
Yeah.
years. But going back, I'll go back to Edmonton in a minute, but like when you guys are making that decision, I remember, you know, along the way, again, like you said, starting over. You're starting over career. You're starting like you have worked in every city that Miles has
Eh,
played in, and and Canada took a different sort of settings. Like you had to get different sort of visas and qualifications and things like that.
mhm.
But in Buffalo, you're really kind of getting into more of the blogging world.
Yeah.
And I remember you guys just got your house. You were just like making it all cute. And then all of a sudden you like had this like cryptic message of like big changes ahead, which if you aren't in the hockey world, you're like, oh my gosh, what's happening? And I'm like, I know what's happening. So I'm like
You
texting
knew.
you on the side, like, where are you going? And tell
Right.
me more.
You're right.
And
And like I was getting other messages. Oh my gosh, are you pregnant? I'm like, no, that's the
yeah,
last thing happening.
yeah.
I'm uprooting
Yes.
yet
I'm
again.
So
taking my entire family.
it just seemed like you were really had dug in, and once you got to Buffalo, and then like you said, it's like you got to sit there and think like with the pros and cons of like, okay, we're gonna uproot and we're gonna start over with two kids that are school age, and
Right.
but like you said, it's like hindsight's always 2020. You got a Stanley Cup, it was all worth it,
It
you
was
know.
so worth it. And like it's tough because you're trying to explain this life to normal people, not normal people, but people that you go to work with, and
Yeah.
they know nothing about this world, this kind of crazy life that we all do a really good job of downplaying. I have to give us kudos to that. Like,
Yeah.
we don't
That's a good
complain
way to put it.
constantly how crazy it can
No,
be,
it's just
right?
part of the job description, like professional packer and mover. And, you know, meeting, like you said, meeting adult friends is hard, but I feel like all
Yeah,
of us have a pretty good knack at, like, okay, you got to do it, and you got to do it quick. Like,
exactly. And no pouting. Like, there's no time for it. Once you get to that place, of course, you're gonna miss people, you're gonna miss things, but they can always come visit. And trust me, when you come to Florida, everybody and their mother comes to visit you. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
No
Lovely.
doubt. Well, I we bonded back in Edmonton. I remember my favorite story about you, Emily. She's from New York, so
mm,
we have got just you can't tell in her accent. She's still got her New York
mm,
accent. But I remember one day in Edmonton, and we were all really close, like players and
yeah,
upper management, coaching staff. Like we were all really close because it's kind of like you gotta stick together up there.
yeah.
But Em is like, it was like, whatever. We were at a game on Saturday, and you're like, yeah, I'm going to go to Costco tomorrow. This is a Sunday. And I'm like, you're going to Costco on Sunday? Like, are you psycho? And she's like, yeah, it reminds me of home, like bumping elbows with
Oh my
people.
God.
It's my favorite story about you. I like
I
that
mean
girl.
that's the closest thing I got to New York feel in Edmonton for sure. It's
Yeah.
Costco on a Sunday.
That's so.
Oh,
So you're New York, but he's Manitoba.
So he's talking Manitoba. So he got a full ride for D3. Manhattanville College is where we moved. We met, and yeah, so never really thought it would work because how the stars lined up for us to meet beyond me, but we're still together, and it's been pretty crazy.
And did you grow up obviously a Rangers fan, or was hockey
Yes.
just? Oh,
No, my brother, my mom always called us rink rats. Like we were always at the rink. My brother played hockey. I played field hockey like Julie. And my coach, he said to me, he was like, "Hey, for off season, you should play hockey." And I was like, "Yeah, no problem. I can do that." I was horrible, absolutely horrible, but I did it, and it helped me understand Miles's job a lot more so that when we were dating, he was kind of like, oh, this chick checks all
okay.
the box. She's not from Canada, but she can still talk hockey and we can watch hockey games together. And, I understood when he had to work like crazy. So,
great.
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even know that
Yeah.
part about the playing hockey because it leads me into we have some questions about how much we laugh because like Kat knows nothing about hockey and doesn't
Used to not, but
used to know.
yeah,
She
it's my
knows
shtick.
much more now, and I maybe know like a hint more than her, and
Yeah.
A lot more. But
yeah,
yeah.
Jeff and I debrief, I guess, a lot more, and Ty and Kat do not debrief.
Oh, we
Let's
don't
just say it that.
discuss. I
So
don't
my
want to know.
question is with
No.
Miles being the video coach and
Hmm.
across the league, like, do you guys like ever debrief together, or is that just like his work stays his work and you stay in your lane?
That's a tricky question. I would say it is season depending.
Okay.
Um, for sure, I have my opinions and there is like zero filter, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I
Oh wow.
tend to like say things and he's just like, please make sure you don't say that around other people. Like just like, dear Lord. But no, we have a good time. Like I will say when he gets home from games, we don't want to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's times where like I'll bring up a certain call or I'll bring up like what happened on that line? Like, da, da, da.
Yeah.
We'll kind of go into it a little bit, but I know when to like not say something,
Yeah.
and I know
Yeah.
when it's like, well, I don't really care because I need to actually know what's going on. Like,
I mean, that makes sense. Informative.
yeah,
But
Yeah.
we always joke too about like the awkward silence rides home, after like a loss. It's like, how's
so
that?
that I would say is a difference between coaches' wives and players' wives. So I don't actually ride home with Miles, and I know all the players' wives do. And I'm super grateful that I don't because I could not even. deal with the amount of silence that you guys probably have to deal with
Yeah.
Oh,
and screaming kids in the back and they want to talk to dad about hockey and did you see that goal? Did you see this? Whatever. So I'm very thankful that like if the game is going south, I can scoot out second period.
nice. Because I've
Yeah.
another joke. I've Ubered home from games before
Yeah.
to
No.
to avoid that ride.
Oh
So
no.
that's no. So that's great to know that you have that,
Yeah.
you know,
But
space
And
there.
out.
that's also touching into the world of like, okay, we know the player schedules through and through,
Right.
but when you look at the coaching and the support staff and equipment managers and things like that, like their schedules are insane. And
Yeah.
I don't think that gets enough like credit or like examined upon because like Miles is never home. Like,
And it's probably year round too,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. It's year round. Like I always joke because he's up at 5 a.m., right? He's out the door at least by 5:30, 6 o'clock some days. And I'm like, what are you like the bread man from 1940s? Like what? Like
yeah.
who is on the road right now other than you? And they're there and then that's even after getting home at 11:30 midnight after an 8 o'clock game because they have to stay, right? They have to cut the video. He's got to pre-scout the next game. They got to prep for the meetings, right? Because they go on the ice, or if they have the meetings before, sometimes it's 10 o'clock meetings. So and he's got to talk to, I think we have 7 coaches on staff, right? So it's
Hmm.
not just like him and Maurice, like we've got so many guys and we got to worry about the penalty kill. And so there's just a lot of things that we got to break down. And so I never see him. And at the same time, it's kind of like, it's good because when he's home, he's home. When he's not
Hmm.
home, we don't want to mess with his schedule and his mental capacity. So.
so the
Totally.
other coaches' wives, you guys are all in it together. Is it kind of like, our situation, group chats, like hangs, like what's it
Yeah.
like?
Yeah, we have our own group chat for sure. Coaches' wives it's a little trickier because the age
Hmm.
differences.
Hmm.
A lot of the coaches' wives either their husbands were players at some point in their career, um, or they weren't. And so we have those kinds of things mixed in a little bit. So it's a little different from you girls. Our kids definitely differ in age.
Hmm.
Um, but we are a solid group here in Florida. It's a good time. And the personalities, they're all over the map. But they click, like our guys click as much as we click because you can see those different personalities and how well we play off each other.
Oh,
I believe
Yeah.
that. I mean, it starts from the top down and through and through. And you always say, like, a good room, in the wives' room, it's the same as locker room and it's same,
Yeah.
it's across the board. And clearly, Florida has some sort of formula figured out. Would you say, like, Paul Maurice's wife, Michelle, is she like kind of like the captain's wife, if you will? Like, is she setting the tone or do all of y'all kind of have your role in it? How does it
So
look?
it's so funny because whenever someone calls her Michelle, she's Mitch. She doesn't go by Michelle. So
Okay.
so she's so funny. She's awesome. But she doesn't ever make it feel like she's queen bee. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like she makes it very clear, like whatever you guys want to do, you guys go for it. Like it's not like this pressure of oh gosh, I'm nervous about a game, so I need to go to the game. Nope.
Mm-hmm.
No one will look at you any sort of way if you don't want to go to an event, if your kids' hockey schedule trumps maybe a Panthers game. They've
Mm-hmm.
been there, they've done that, they totally get it. So we're all kind of in it together.
That's so special.
do
Yeah.
you guys? How many games about do you go to? Would you say, or like
Mhm.
starting at the
So
playoffs? Does it get more? Like you all show up more probably at the playoffs?
I would say it depends. I would say it's pretty consistent throughout the season.
Hmm.
Um, but with this being the third year, I think we've been kind of like, okay, we take it easy a little bit, but at the same time, it gets like, hey, who is going tonight? Like, who's going to the game? And like, if someone has extra tickets, they always offer it up because someone's dad's in or whatever. So yeah, it's clear communication, but no stress.
Okay. Well, speaking of stress, what is it like sitting next to you at a game?
Horrible. So I would say the best way to just like describe it is, like you guys have a different kind of stress. You see your guys on the bench, you see them making their plays. Miles is calling back goals during playoffs. So he called back the Carolina goal, right? And
Mhm.
it gave Bobrovsky the shutout, right? So during that, when I knew he was making that call, I either grabbed the people next to me or, my chair, and I am literally like I'm like an air like I feel like I'm on an airplane, like a Spirit airplane during a
Oh God.
thunderstorm. Like
Oh.
I'm just like
Yeah.
white knuckling it the whole time. And like, my kids are cheering and all I can do is like just say like, thank you, baby Jesus. Like
Yeah.
I can't even get excited. I'm still in like such stress. But when the game's over and done, I'm like, I can breathe. The first three games, I'm like calm no matter what the score is. Fourth game is where we're just all kind of a little on edge because
Not
it
the
can go
spirit.
this way or it can just keep going.
Spirit
So,
Airlines.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a wild comparison.
Wild.
Yeah. Do you have any superstitions, and does Miles have any superstitions from a coaching angle?
Right. So it's kind of like a unicorn. He doesn't
Yeah.
do superstition. And I kind of fell into it a little bit at the beginning of the first year because I was like, oh man. Second year, everything felt like sticky. I every piece of Panther gear that I had that I would wear to a game had like a layer of a win or a loss. So
Mm-hmm.
we've kind of switched it from superstition to prayer. And that sounds corny, but I swear it's because I needed better outcomes that
Yeah.
that I was just like, you know what, at this point, guys, I need to teach the kids too that it is we just need to pray. We got to believe. And any kind of like anxious or whatever, we're going to mess them up and we're going to mess daddy up. So we
Mm-hmm.
say our prayers in the morning when it's during playoffs. And that's all we can do. We just leave it up to him.
So you kind of like
That's.
shifted superstition.
I
Mm-hmm.
had to. I had to because we were just like, we were going a little crazy with things. And I respect everybody's superstition, but I was getting a little too much. And I was just like, this is not what I'm about.
I
I've
like
never done
that. I
this. Like,
like
what am
that
I doing?
It
shift.
can consume you. It really can.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it
really do.
totally can.
Now, how do your kids? So Colette and Tank. I'm
Tank.
gonna I'm gonna call him
Oh.
Dank.
Yep.
Um, How old are they now?
So Colette is 11 turning 12.
How'd that
She gets
happen?
older, not me. Wesley is 8 years old.
Okay, so how did they do with Miles being with you guys being so transient? I mean, not for the last
Yeah,
3 years, but and then
yeah,
him just being gone. Like I know it on our schedule, and it's hard enough on the long road trips and things like that. But
yeah.
even when your husband's home, he's still,
He's not present.
yeah,
I mean, he's present, but he's not here. He's still
yeah,
working.
yeah,
His hours are
I would
crazy.
definitely say that I think it was in Buffalo that it was a hard lesson to learn, but I had to wake up and realize I'm the consistent for my kids.
hmm
Like, I'm the mom, I'm the packer, I'm the school finder, I am, you know, the person that packs the lunch, all the tiers that are coming with the shift and the move, but at the same time, like teaching them with these moves. Oh my gosh, we get to have new adventures and travel, new cultures, and Florida's got a lot of them. So it's been like, let's ride this roller coaster with our seatbelts on, and I'm that seatbelt. So
hmm
that's just kind of been what we've been together.
I love teaching them that it's an adventure because that's how
Yeah,
I see this entire
that's
totally.
thing.
right. And
How
it does end. I explain that to them. There will be a day where actually I don't know if it ends because Miles is such a
Yeah,
workaholic. I think he's just gonna keep going.
yeah,
But there will be a time that, this is just not what we're worried about so much anymore. So like let's just ride it. Let's have fun.
yeah.
how
I
have
love
they
that.
transitioned into Florida life?
That was tough. It was tough. You know, we love the beach, so we all thought it was going to be this big, like we're at the beach every day and all that kind of stuff. But we miss snow so much, which was crazy. um it's hard to live in a place where Halloween, Christmas, it's like 80 degrees out,
Yep.
and so it
I
was tough.
It's funny, in stalking you, I told Julie, I was like, she seemed like she really enjoyed the East Coast fall. Like,
Yes. Oh, because I
because
grew up in that, right? So that's like,
yeah.
and they
No.
kind of grew up in that now that they were in Buffalo for those serious years. But
Yeah.
I think Wesley's a Florida boy. Like he's all about it. He walks around with his shirt off. It's like when we're going to the beach and he's got his sandals. We're going to the hockey games all the time. He's got his slides and his board shorts on. I'm like, dude, I can't. I can't.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, I love that I mean, you said it perfectly. Like, you are the seatbelt. That is like the women in this adventure
Yeah.
we are the energy and we are just the whole mood on if you're moving kids, if you're moving yourself and your animal, like you are
Yeah.
the energy. And I think you do it so gracefully
Mm.
and so beautifully with that message of just like, it's an adventure and we are going to ride the wave wherever we go. And you have done that so well through Miles's career, and I've admired it so much. Like
Oh, thanks, Julie.
you've just like, you're amazing. You adapt to any situation. And Edmonton, you are working in the schools there, and then
Yeah.
you kind of shifted. And throughout that, I did remember, and I wanted to talk to you about it. You like applied for some cooking show.
Yes.
Like, can you expand on that now? Because I feel like
Yeah.
that was the coolest thing to witness.
That was really cool. I don't know if I can say it, but I'm gonna say it. It was Ramsey. He was, he has his shows, right?
Yeah.
And he wanted hometown cooks. So I had my stuff out on Instagram and someone reached out to me from his team and they were like, "Hey, we think you'd be a really good candidate for this." And I was just like, "Okay." And much like yourself, a couple people were like, "Just do it. Who cares?
Yeah.
Try out." And I did. And then I kept making
The
the
cuts.
rounds and I was like, "Oh no, I don't know if I can do this." Like I was like,
Like, what was it like? Like, what kind of show was it?
so it would be like I'd be representing the Northeast and I would be going against other people and like they do, all these kind of cooking challenges. And then I think you win like 100 grand or whatever and you get like a part of a cooking show, all this stuff. So it got really intense and there got to the point of the interview and they were like, "So you can, leave your family for like 5 months?" And I was like,
This,
"No."
yeah, this doesn't
Yeah.
work in
It's
our
like
household here.
Yeah.
I was like, absolutely not. And then I like kind of called my dad. I was like, "Dad, I know you're like 65 almost. It's like,
Yeah.
you think you want to move down to Florida and take kids to school every day, hockey practice?" He was like, "Absolutely not. No."
Yeah. No. Well,
Oh, so this was recently then.
Yeah.
Oh,
it
wow.
was inspiring to say the least, and everybody has to go follow Em because she just throws together these like gourmet meals from, she's like the 5 ingredient girl from Trader Joe's, and
Hmm.
she looks like she's put together, a 4-course meal. Do you have any advice for any younger, coach's wife that might be coming into a league with a younger coach? They're kind of at the beginning of their journey. What kind of
Yeah.
advice would you give?
I would give put yourself out there. Like pretend like you're speed dating and you have nothing to lose with like the women that you can meet in the organization. It might turn out that you're going to become best friends with the GM's wife. It might turn out that you're going to become friends with the captain's wife or, the equipment manager's wife. But just put yourself out there because everybody's in the same boat. Everybody's
Hmm.
self-conscious, everybody's nervous, everybody's husband's contract might be up in a couple of years. So you might as well find your people and just dig in.
Couldn't agree more.
I have another question. We were wondering about the differences in, you guys won a Calder Cup and obviously Stanley Cup. What's the difference in celebrations? What's the difference in
Oh,
parades? Like, can you tell each one, what happens
sure,
after?
sure.
In different regions, I guess.
Yeah, different, just the
Yeah,
Like
differences, the
total vibes.
similarities.
yeah. Florida itself is a vibe. Like you've got fans wearing flip-flops. You've got them sweating through their Panthers jersey. They're screaming "Vamos Gatos" anytime they see someone wearing a Panthers gear. Um, it was it was amazing. Charlotte, we won the cup. I could tell those guys were so excited. are such babies. They're younger. It was really for them. And, we went to a restaurant after. We had a lot of fun celebrating. And with the Florida Panthers, it was family. Like our kids were there celebrating with us. We kept them out way too long. The guys ended up just like celebrating all together the whole night. I think we were home around like 4 a.m. And then we got together for dinner after the next day. So I might have slept 4 hours in total. But yeah, it was spectacular. Something you never forget. And the parades, amazing. The Charlotte Checkers, I'm not sure they actually had a parade, or maybe I didn't go. I don't remember. But the Panthers parade was very Florida. It was torrential downpour. People were like screaming, running next to the buses. It was so fun.
Was the Florida parade? I think I remember. Was it on that main Fort
Yeah,
Lauderdale
the
drag?
A1A. Yeah.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, it was really cool. They shut it down and like, everybody was just out to party.
I'm
So
sure.
how do you guys manage expectations going into, this year's playoffs and this year's finals? You guys you kind of know what it takes, and
Yeah.
how do you what are you doing differently or the same to manage that kind of, the energy?
Yeah. So I think our fans do a really good job of keeping the energy in the stadium
Mhm.
the same, if not more. Um, and I think the wives do a really good job of keeping the house calm and consistent, like we talked about.
Mhm.
And whatever goes on in the locker room is working because those guys are unlike any other team. They're pretty awesome.
It
That's
seems like
amazing.
every year. So you guys got there in 2022. It seems like every
Yeah.
year it just kind of gets more and more exciting and more people talking about Florida. You guys have the outdoor games next year. So each
Yes.
year it's probably gotten, you know, it's like she said, how do you keep that energy like humble?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Humble energy, exactly. But
Yeah, I don't even think humble's the word. I think it's more like, no, let's do this. Like, let's just do as much as we can and keep going.
yep.
it's amazing. Do you guys have any plans to travel to Edmonton for any of the games?
No. Mm-mm.
Nope.
Nope. Mm-mm. No, no.
Is there a, what's the hard no there?
I think everybody needs the guys to be focused on them, and I think we all agree that it's best for us to all cheer them on at home.
I love that.
Yeah,
Cool.
Yeah.
I love the same page, definitive vibe.
Yeah,
Yep.
I was like,
Yep.
that was a hard no.
It's also a really long travel day.
Yes.
Probably, yeah, not even direct,
Yes.
probably.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, no. Florida's good. I can watch the game from the beach and I'm happy.
Sounds rough.
I know.
Oh,
So-
M.
Something we saw, the 5K. Can you tell us how that came about with the Gaudreau family, and just how you all rallied together there?
Yeah. So that whole event speaks to this organization in a nutshell. It was never fanfare. Like it was not planned. The guys weren't even initially involved. This was something that Kachuk's fiance and the GM's wife kind of talked to all the wives about, and we were going to do it totally quiet, and as we still did. Um, but when the guys were actually going to be home, then it was like, okay, we'll bring the kids. Okay, and if the guys want to do it, they should do it too, and they absolutely wanted to do it. And you know, it's such a moment of realization that this is what it really is about. It really is so much more of a community rather than my husband's job, for sure.
Well,
Really
it's
special.
it's evident in seeing that, like you said, just popping up kind of on our social medias and seeing it and seeing the players and y'all's kids and support stuff. Like everybody just coming together during probably the most high, intense part of your season and, rallying around what it really means and what is it is a testament to y'all's organization, and it was just super cool and inspiring to see. Just I think for probably across the league, because that was incredible. Like every little bit we're seeing on it was super special.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, it does not, it's coming from their core. It does not, obviously the social media team has to do their job and they're gonna
Hmm.
post about it, but that is not the intention. And I highly encourage anybody that gets the opportunity to come to Florida Panthers just come here so you can understand what this is. It's like top-notch organization.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
They should hire you, Emphy.
I was gonna
Just,
say,
just you're the recruiter.
I mean, I'll take it. I'll take the
Yeah.
job.
Oh my gosh.
all right, so we'll ask you our quick hitters to wrap things up. These should be a little
Okay.
easier. So, okay, what are you and Miles watching together right now?
Okay, other than
Hockey.
me, we were watching hockey. That was the only
Yeah,
thing we
yeah.
were watching. Sirens is amazing. He's not actually watching it. I'm
I just
watching
watched it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it. I loved it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good. It's on my
loved it.
list. What is
Yeah.
your most used emoji?
Oh, I'm such a old lady. I do the cry laugh. That's my emoji.
that's funny because we had the two young kids from the Sharks on the show, and that's also there. So saying,
Okay. All right. I
So
don't feel
you're
so
not an old lady.
yeah, Macklin and Will, 18 and 20, that
You're
they're crying
trending with
emoji.
the teenagers. Um,
I
Yep.
mean,
All right, so kind of similar, but what's the most used social app between the two of you?
oh. So he's on Instagram, but
not.
he's very hidden. Yes.
Mm.
He's a ghost.
Yes, he's one of those. He doesn't have any posts, and I think there's like maybe like 15 people following him. But
Mm.
Instagram, WhatsApp to text with our Canadian family, and I think that's it.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah,
Favorite concert you've ever been to?
it's a good one. A long time. I want to say Dave Matthews Band.
Cannot go wrong there.
Nice. Most memorable vacation.
Uh, I want to say probably the Stanley Cup. We took it to his hometown, and that was amazing.
What'd you do for the party?
So my sister-in-law actually kind of threw the party because when you get the schedule as to when you have the cup, it is like you're planning a wedding in 2 weeks and that's it. So I kind of messaged her and she was amazing. I was like, listen, I need it at your house. Can you get the food? We will pay you for everything. She was like, it would be a dream. So she kind of threw the party for us. But yeah, we just went to his hometown and we invited the whole community and it was
Oh,
amazing.
Oh my God. Were there people
Yeah.
he hadn't seen in like a really long
Oh
time
my
that
gosh, forever. And a lot of people actually drove like hours and hours. I mean, it doesn't help that his hometown is a 4-hour drive from the Winnipeg airport. So everybody kind of did have to drive no matter what. But yeah, it was great.
wow, that's
Yeah.
so funny. Again, as a New York City girl and
Yeah.
you married
In the farm.
That's
Farms
really
of
funny.
Manitoba.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
I think I know the answer to this, but what is your drink of choice at a hockey game?
White wine. Always.
Yeah.
Always.
Hasn't
It's got to be
changed.
Savi. Yep, hasn't changed.
I am the same. So
It just goes good with like the cold ice. You're
Yeah.
just like in it. So,
I actually deem it as one of my superstitions to make it seem like a little more normal. You know, it's like stop my.
Do what you have to do, Kat. Do what you have to
yep,
do.
that's it.
It's like, where's my white wine? We're losing. I need my, like.
Give it. I need it.
Kidding. Most this is fun. Most Florida thing you've ever done.
Ooh. Oh, there's so many now. And I kind of love all of them. Um, Warming up at the rink. Like going outside and sitting by the palm trees, warming up the rink is like my favorite Florida thing to do. Wearing open-toed shoes or like flip-flops to a rink is like my favorite
Ugh,
thing. Uh, there's so many. Going to the beach before a hockey game. I love that. My kids love it. Um, trying to think what else do we do? Ordering Uber Eats at the beach is
Oh,
also my
to the
favorite thing.
beach. Yeah, I love
To the beach.
yeah, I
They
love
bring it right to you.
that.
wow.
That's actually
Amazing.
funny. There's one I went to see Ty play when he was on the Kings in Florida, and I took a photo after the game, and I'm in a t-shirt and flip flops, and like it's a weird, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's normal there. But I feel like people were commenting like, "What are you wearing to the hockey
Right.
game?" But
It
normal there, so
literally
that's cool.
makes me
normal.
feel like so vulnerable. Like going to the rink in the summer here, and I like forget like I'm in flip flops. I feel like my toes are gonna get chopped off by one of my kids
Yeah.
from stepping on my feet with their skates. It's like
That's very possible.
it freaks me out. But we went to a game last year in Florida, and my favorite part about it was warming up. So like in the intermission, they had these
Hmm.
beautiful outdoor patios with bars, like
Yes.
connected
was
to the
cool.
rink, and it was like, and they had like games like Connect Four and stuff for children, and I'm like,
Right.
this is nice. Like I like this. So I get that.
Yeah.
Okay, last but not least, what is your favorite date night in Florida?
Oh, we're gonna do it again tonight, so you're gonna get the best version. So we actually bring our kids with us because I don't know.
Time?
It's fun. I don't know. I sometimes date nights have to be family nights as well because we just don't
Hmm.
have time together.
Hmm.
So we go down to Las Olas and there is a restaurant. It's brand new. I think it's Ocean Prime, and we get almost every side option available, and then everybody gets like a steak, or I always get the salmon, and everybody just is just it's just hands everywhere. You don't know
Yeah,
whose dish is what, and like it's just my favorite date night.
I love it. Well, that is going to be special because I'm sure Miles is off to Edmonton tomorrow.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
that sounds like the perfect send off for
Yeah,
him and
yeah.
good vibes.
Yeah, we're just celebrating, always celebrating.
I love that. Well, Emily, thank you for joining us. You are
Thank
just
you.
such a gem. I was so excited to catch up with you. And
I know.
good luck and just keep holding down the fort.
Well, you girls should come to Florida. I'm just saying. Just saying.
Well,
I
you
was
never
just there.
know.
The twist my arm. I literally will come anytime. So
All right, girlies. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
thank you. Nice to meet you. Okay, she was very cool. It's really cool to hear that perspective from a coach's wife. Just in terms of hours, everything.
She's so fun, and she's like, I just love her perspective on everything. She's just inspiring. So, Emily,
she's great.
but I'm really kicking myself right now because I wanted to ask about the coach's handshake line. Did you see that? Over
Yeah, I
the
saw a little bit, but I didn't really know enough to ask. But what?
So apparently, and maybe I'm missing a part of it, but Paul Maurice, the head coach of Florida, when they won the series against Carolina, he stopped Rob Brindamore before they went and did the handshake line and said something of the likes of like, the coaches should handshake now and not join the players line. So like, don't go in the players handshake line, like that's for them. And it's getting a little like controversial. Like, what is your take on it, sort of thing? And not that it matters, but I meant to ask Emily
Oh, damn.
because her
Hot topic, and you didn't do it.
I know, it's like, dang it. Not that it's like groundbreaking and whatever, but it would have been fun to hear what they thought about do you have any thoughts, Kat?
No, but I would like you to text her now. You didn't ask her.
I know. I'll follow up with a text. But anyways, I just think that's funny that it's kind of like all over, social media right now of like, why did he decide to like make that a point at that time, and
Yeah.
should they be part of it or should they not? I don't know. And Pee Wee games coaches are always part of it, so
Let's get her take, and you can tell me, and then maybe she'll let us say it on the Insta or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's so
But
funny. Well, speaking of our
anyways.
Insta, now that we're kind of winding down for the summer, keep our DMs flooding. We want to know who you want to have on this summer, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean, we have ideas, and we're gonna pop in. After the Stanley Cup is awarded, we will get someone on that will be closely related to the celebrations to kind of debrief that, and then of course, there's all these markers throughout the summer. Free agency, we'll have to kind
we
of
gotta
talk about.
about that. We want to have a couple couples because we really liked when we interviewed like the Alsners. It was fun to have, the couple aspect. And now that we're like really big on games on this podcast,
Now it's a
more
game
fun with
show.
couples. Yeah,
Now we're hosting a game show.
yeah. So I feel like having like some like hockey couples because during the off season, the guys are a lot more,
Yeah.
fun to chat with.
And we want to dabble into other sports leagues. So definitely getting into MLB and getting kind of perspectives on, because they're full, no pun intended, full swing during the summer.
Oh, yeah.
So that'll be fun, and just keep an eye out. It's not going to be regular cadence, but we will be back during the off season, just at a little bit different pattern.
Yep.
And just enjoying our summers, and they always fly by.
Yeah.
So
It's already been flying by. I mean, it's like actually crazy. Like,
I know it's when June hits, I feel like that's the start of like, okay, the guy's training actually really like starts to like be serious, and I can't ask Jeff like, oh, don't go into workout this early today. It's like, nope, his schedule is back in priority. So
totally. And once June 30th ish hits, that's when the hockey weddings start flowing our feeds too. So
yeah,
it's always
hockey
really
wedding
funny.
summers. Yep.
Hockey wedding
Hockey
summers.
summer.
Everyone has the same exact anniversary in this world.
Honestly.
Or a week apart, maybe. So
Yeah.
it's pretty funny.
So it'll be fun. Kat and I are gonna reunite in person this summer in Montreal. So
maybe we'll go live from
you never know.
from where we first met. And on
From the
Mount Royal.
hill in Mount Royal.
That actually would be so serendipitous. Is that the word? If we actually went up there and did
Full
a
circle.
podcast
I think
from-
full
from-
circle is
Yeah.
is the word we were looking for. Words.
Yeah.
Words.
Whoa. Yeah.
Anyways, well, that's the plan. So stick around. Keep letting us know. We'll do fun things on our Instagram just to keep things lively there. But thank you again for just, being with us, bearing with us, because we learned along the way, we both never knew how to do a podcast to start.
We're a long way from our Garzy interview where we just were like, oh, what are we doing? Wow,
Yeah,
this is
so-
crazy.
Thank you again. Continue to subscribe, do all the things that you got to do on your podcast platforms just to help us and keep us, on the forefront. So we appreciate you guys. And thanks again for tuning in to our first season of Never Offside with Julie and Kat.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.